Pro Football Focus graded Michigan quarterback Shea Patterson at 86.2. Good for higher than Heisman finalist and winner in my book, Dwayne Haskins' grade of 85.0. You ever immediately realize you can't trust the source anymore? You fucking played yourself, PFF. Hit that alert.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Fucking dead to me. Shea Patterson better than Dwayne Haskins. Get the fuck out. This episode of Prem Brulee is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors, too, so that you can get paid to podcast. I use Anchor to distribute this very episode, and so that all the amazing listeners on the number one podcast in your headphones can enjoy Prem Brulee on whatever platform they prefer. I love how easy Anchor makes it to edit and post episodes. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start. So that you can join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Alright, welcome to another edition of Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal of the newly christened Play Call Network. That's right, Holyfield is now the Play Call Network. Don't be confused, same toasty takes, same spiciness, same pettiness, and petty alerts will still be blaring. But just a new name, the Play Call Network. Still your boy Prem Brulee, holding it down, number one podcast in your headphones. Without further ado, let's get going on Yeah Fam or Nah. And first one up is the NBA trade deadline. So last episode we covered the big trade involving Kristaps Porzingis going to the Dallas Mavericks. Here are some other notable moves that happened after that episode. Some of the smaller ones, before I get to the big one, the Bulls acquired Otto Porter Jr. from the Washington Wizards in exchange for Jabari Parker and Bobby Portis. The Milwaukee Bucks added a sharpshooter, Nikola Mirotic, from the Pelicans and traded away Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, and 4 second-round picks. Former number 1 overall pick, Markelle Fultz, his time in Philadelphia is over barely after it started. He is now a member of the Orlando Magic. He was traded in exchange for Jonathan Simmons, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick. And now to the bigger moves. The Philadelphia 76ers, speaking of the devil, while moving away Markelle Fultz, did add an incredible asset to their starting lineup. They traded with the LA Clippers and landed Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, and Mike Scott in exchange for Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, and Mike Muscala, who was then later traded to the Lakers. The Sixers also traded away a 2020 first-round pick, a 2021 first-round pick, and second-round picks in 2021 and 2023. Those are all heading back to the Clippers. And then we had a trade between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors added Marc Gasol in exchange for Jonas Valanciunas, Delion Wright, and CJ Miles, tacking on an extra second-round pick as well. So, we covered this last week. I am absolutely a yeah fam to trades and the trade deadline in general. It makes for great entertainment. Love seeing players switch teams and how potential moves will impact as we head down the stretch and head into the second half of the season. More on that later, especially those last two trades I discussed, the Sixers and Raptors adding key pieces. I'll be telling you which one I see having a bigger impact. But I am a yeah fam to those trades. The part that makes me hesitate is the trade that didn't happen, which was Anthony Davis, of course. I just hate the fact that every time it seems there's a trade deadline, the trade that seems to get the most buzz never ends up happening. But lucky for us, there's always a surprise move here and there that catches our attention away from the ones that didn't happen. So the next headline stays in the NBA, and speaking of the devil, the last one I just spoke on, Anthony Davis. The NBA reportedly has told the Pelicans they will fine them $100,000 per game if Anthony Davis is a healthy scratch after their star player requested a trade but did not get moved. Of course, Anthony Davis, for his own sake, wants to play to help his own stock, but it's not outrageous to assume the Pelicans were probably thinking about benching him for the final one-third of the games left so that their draft stock can improve. The Pelicans were 21-21 with Davis and 4-10 without him at the time of the deadline. So you can see why they wouldn't want such a dominant player to be playing and risk injury so that their star player's trade value isn't as high. I'm a nod to this one, and usually I'm pro player. I'm definitely in favor of the original purpose of this rule that was enacted in 2017. Adam Silver did it so that fans going to experience games see players maybe for the only time they have an opportunity to. If they're a fan of a visiting player coming to a visiting city, it prevents teams from resting star players, so thereby hurting the fan experience. I'm definitely for the original purpose of this move. But in this particular case, if Anthony Davis can request a trade from a team, why can't that team exercise its right to bench him? This dude tried to make a power play to gain control. Yes, the Pelicans were petty and did not trade him away. According to the Lakers, did not negotiate trades in good faith. But what right do we have to tell them not to bench a player who clearly wants out and clearly only benefits from playing? Why should he get all the advantages? He can request a trade and try to force his way out a year and a half before his contract's up, and he is required to still play even though the team benefits nothing from winning meaningless games? I don't get that. I'm a nod to that. Big news from the football world just when we think it's winding down before the Combine and NFL drafts ramps up. The Alliance of American Football, the AAF, began playing. So a little background behind this league, because we all saw all over social media that they did start playing this past week, thereby starting a new football league in America. So here's the breakdown. The players get 3-year non-guaranteed contracts worth $250K. It serves as a potential path back to more lucrative money, perhaps in the NFL if they ball out in this AAF. There are 416 players on the 8 AAF rosters, and they're probably all holding out hope that they can get back to the NFL in some cases or make the NFL by impressing. There are some familiar faces involved. Bill Polian is one of the head guys of the league, Mike Singletary. And then we have former famous coaches like Steve Spurrier and Mike Martz. And some old star college players like Trent Richardson, Denard Robinson, Go Bucks. Yeah, we can sound that alarm. We don't like Denard.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
And last but not least, Christian Hackenberg, too. The league is a little bit different than the NFL's rules. They do not have a kickoff. Instead, teams start at their own 25. And their replacement for an onside kick is a team can elect to do an onside kick from their own 28-yard line, and they're required in one play to gain 12 yards. The catch is the team must be down 17 or more points, or there must be less than 5 minutes left in the game. There are no extra points. Teams must go for 2 after scoring a touchdown. Teams also cannot blitz more than 5 people, and they can't blitz more than 2 yards outside the offensive tackle. So no corner blitzes or anything like that. The AAF has a 9th ref called the Sky Judge that can review plays and call or take away penalties called on the field. So with all that said, I wanted to get a yeah, fam or nah to the AAF starting. Do we need more football? Is it necessary? And I wrestled back and forth between this one because it's cool to have football year-round, and some of the things the AAF is doing, especially the Sky Judge, and they have this cool thing where you can listen into referees reviewing calls. I just think there's a lot that the NFL can learn and apply from this particular league. But if we're going with the topic of needing more football, I'm a nah. I love that the opportunity it provides players, but I'd be lying if I said we weren't constantly thinking about the NFL. As soon as the Super Bowl wraps up, focus shifts to the draft, the combine, prospects. The NFL seems to carry each part of the year. So in terms of needing more football, I'm a nah. But if everybody can eat, who am I to say otherwise? I told you, I'm usually a pretty positive dude. And since the Buckeyes and Cowboys can't cause me pain at this point in the year, although I'm sure they'll try. If there's enough football to go around, enough viewers to watch, why not? I'm going to go with fam to the AAF beginning playing. No, we don't need more football, but why can't we have it? I think some good can come from this. I don't know how long it'll last. But for now, I'm a fam. Why not? Let's give it a chance. A lot of people are getting into it, trying to claim allegiances to teams. And I dig that. If it can help certain players get back to the league, I'm definitely for that too. And if it's a passion of players to play football and there's plenty of money to go around, let them live. Last but not least, the fam or nah. Kyler Murray has announced that he's choosing the NFL over the MLB. In a post from his own account, he wanted to shift focus into potentially becoming a franchise quarterback for a team. He very well could be the first player ever drafted in the first round of both the NFL and the MLB. He does have to give back a vast majority of his money that was originally guaranteed by the A's, but unfortunately the A's played themselves and do not get a compensatory pick for Kyler Murray choosing another career path. And that is because Kyler originally signed. If he hadn't, they would have got to pick at 11th again this year. So, yikes to that. Listen, for this one, from his standpoint, you could tell football is his passion. That's why I had a hunch. We were picking in previous episodes that he was going to pick the NFL. I don't think I was alone in that. So, I'm a fam. If the guy wants to play football, I figure might as well try it out. If it doesn't work out, it seems like he's good enough to play or try out baseball. Tim Tebow can do it. I think Kyler Murray as a first-round pick can. So I'm a fam, as long as he doesn't get drafted over my boy Dwayne, the real Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, you can sound it, whatever. He won it, in my book.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Now it's time for Likey No Likey Hate It. The good, bad, and ugly from this past week. And my first likey goes to Justin Fields, former Georgia quarterback, received his NCAA transfer waiver and is eligible to play in 2019 immediately for Ohio State. Let's fucking go, baby! Did you hear that sound? That was the sound of Jim Harbaugh spilling his steak and glass of milk on his dumbass khakis. Let's fucking go, Justin Fields. My next likey is for a total stranger. The likey goes to a New Orleans native, Henry A. Jaume. He was 65 when he passed away on Sunday, February 3rd at 1 p.m. Why would a death be unlikely, you ask? No, I'm not morbid or dark like that. But Mr. Jaume is eternally now on Team Petty as we dedicate this very special alert to him.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
I hope he heard it from the heavens, surrounded by fellow Petty members who've departed. So, his obituary read, Henry A. Jaume Sr., age 65, passed away on Sunday, February 3rd, 2019 at 1 p.m. Determined not to watch Super Bowl 53. Wow.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Heaven truly gained a beautiful petty soul. Sound it again for him.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Okay, now on to my only no likey of the week, and it is not sports related. You know, I like to mix it up here. My no likey goes to Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy winning Rap Album of the Year at the Grammys instead of Pusha T's Daytona. Come on, man. The Grammys constantly messes up the hip-hop genre. I'm thinking the people voting probably figured it meant most popular and not best rap album, because that had to be Pusha T. So no likey goes to that. No, I'm not hating on Cardi. I'm a Cardi B fan. Her album was good. But best rap album, that's Pusha T's Daytona. And I got one hate it before I move on to You Played Yourself, aka the rant section. Hate it goes to the Browns signing former Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt to a 1-year deal. So we all know by now the egregious assault that was caught on video by Hunt. And whether or not you believe in second chances, let's for now set that part aside. I'm not trying to belittle those who feel strongly about it, but speaking strictly from a football standpoint, the Browns have Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson on their roster. They literally traded away Carlos Hyde last year to get the other two more touches. Hunt is facing a large suspension. A lot of people believe it's going to be in the double digits. So I get from, again, strictly a football standpoint, John Dorsey and the Browns doing a 1-year deal. Very high reward on the football field and low risk financially. But here's where my hate it goes the most. John Dorsey was part of the Kansas City Chiefs front office and part of the team that drafted Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round previously. John Dorsey claims they did their due diligence, yet Dorsey never tried to talk to the victim of this egregious assault, nor has he talked to any local women's domestic violence organization, but claims he plans to. If you did your due diligence, what the fuck were you doing? If it didn't involve trying to talk to people who, unfortunately, we live in a world where there are people that know that subject the most. I wish they didn't, but you're going to hire some guy just because he's good at football without doing true due diligence? And on top of that, Kareem Hunt is going to be close to home. Now, some might say that might be good for his productivity, but it also could be even worse. Putting him in a situation where you put football ahead of anything else. And then on top of that, claim you made an educated decision, but admittedly didn't do even the things that made the most sense to people? I don't see the logic in that. So again, whether or not you believe Hunt deserves a second chance in the NFL or not, either way I'm going with the hate it to this move by the Cleveland Browns. Alright, time for my favorite section. It seems to be the most entertaining section. Maybe the section where you turn the volume down a little bit because I'm yelling too much, but this week is no different. I got 2 candidates for You Played Yourself, and they are doozies. The first You Played Yourself goes to Stephen A. Smith. Boy, that man did it again. He Hunter Henry Dwayne Haskins. Unreal. So Stephen A. Smith, when breaking down the Ohio State quarterback and was comparing him to other potential first-round pick Kyler Murray, Stephen A. said the following on Haskins. Quote, I just find him to be more of a runner than a thrower. End quote. What? What in the Okay. I get that he's got a tough job. He needs to know about almost every sport and analyze them in a 2-hour show every day. Forget him possibly knowing that people in Columbus repeatedly ask coaches about the lack of running from their quarterback because teams weren't even respecting the zone read that is signature to Urban Meyer spread offenses. But you didn't fucking need to know much to look up Dwayne Haskins' season stats, did you? Look, here I go. Let me do it for you. See, look, I just did it. I just fucking did it, Stephen A. You hear the clicking? Took you that long. Haskins had a whopping 108 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns total for the entire season. Oh, and this more of a runner you claim just had a measly 4,831 yards passing and 50 fucking touchdown passes. By the way, both of those statistical categories more than you peasants Heisman Trophy winner Kyler Murray while we're at it.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Or how about this? Even in that short amount it took me to look up those stats, because maybe you're on air that whole time. You work at ESPN. Maybe just ask a coworker or read one of their analyses. Get a researcher from your own show to give you a quick rundown, maybe. Something better than the quality equivalent of saying an injured Hunter Henry is a player you'll be watching for on the Chargers. Oh, but then it gets better. This dude, Stephen A., doubled down on Twitter. He tweeted the following, quote, Haskins is big time. I know this. And I'm not saying he can't pass, but I view him the way I view him. Just an eye test thing. I'm not talking statistically. Make of it what you will. Come on, man, just take the fucking L. How are you going to double down off of something that you were totally wrong at? It takes a bold fucking man to be that fucking wrong and then double down and say it was an eye test. What eye test? The back of your fucking eyelids? Because you clearly didn't watch a damn thing about him. You could have even just watched his little mini highlight reel they show when they're talking about a player on ESPN, their little 30-second cut where they keep repeating it. You'll see there was no fucking running on that cut. I get it, man. He can't know about everything. I get all that. But this is the stupidest shit ever. He's just making up garbage. It didn't take a genius to figure out Dwayne Haskins isn't a fucking running quarterback. Takes 2 seconds. It doesn't get any less fiery here. Because the next you played yourself goes to the number one snake in this whole entire world. The fucking snake from Oakland, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant had this tirade for the press after the Golden Snake Warriors won against the San Antonio Spurs last week. The man with 0 rings.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Criticized reporters for their handling of rumors about what he might do in free agency this offseason. Quote, y'all come here every day and ask me about free agency. You ask my teammates, my coaches, you rile up the fans about it. Let us play basketball. That's all I'm saying. And now, when I don't want to talk to y'all, that's a problem on me. Come on, man. Grow up. End quote. This dude is telling people to grow up with fucking burner accounts. You have fucking burner Twitter accounts. I don't know any rational adult that has those, but yeah, you want to tell people to grow up. Quote, I just want to play ball. Okay, go play ball. You can play any fucking where. You can go to the Rucker, you can go to any gym and just dominate. But how about part of the trade-off for you earning fucking millions of dollars for being really good at a sport? Sure, you're skilled, you earned it. But part of that fucking trade-off about being really good and being in the best league in the entire world, earning millions of dollars to play a game, is having to do some shit you don't want to do. Newsflash, every fucking job has those. Maybe that's something you don't want to do is press. Maybe something I don't want to do is go to a meeting. But I still go. And I don't get paid millions of dollars. You want to trade spots? How about I do the press for you and I just get whatever portion of your salary you think doing press takes up of your day. I even take that trade off. I'm pretty sure any fucking person would. This dude is telling people to grow up and he's got fucking burner accounts. Can you believe this shit? How about you realize from other people that have done it, if you keep answering boring, they'll stop. Simple. It's just fucking simple. Just answer questions like a normal human being without thinking everyone is out to get you. Boring answers lead to boring questions. Look at me on a fucking couch in my own house knowing that's the way to do it. And it seems like you're the only dumbass that doesn't know, instead wants to rip some reporters for doing their job. Sounds sweet. Reporters are just doing their goddamn job. Their job is to ask you questions. You just happen to be a free agent coming up. People want to know. It's your right to answer boringly, but it's their right to fucking ask you. And let me back up here. Give some context to why this dude claiming in his quote, "Now I don't want to talk to you, and now it's a problem." This fucking idiot happened to go media silent for the 9 days following the Knicks dealing away Kristaps Porzingis. So the Knicks trade away a star player in Porzingis. New York has widely been named as a potential landing spot for Durant one day. You don't think they're going to ask about that tiny-ass coincidence? The story you created by acting like a fucking child. When I don't want to talk to y'all, that's a problem on me? Grow up? The fuck? Did you play any part of that back in your head? They need growing up? Your ass went silent for 9 days, and they're supposed to take that as just nothing? And then you just want to talk basketball. How about you stop acting like a fucking idiot and don't go media silent for 9 days so they have more to ask you about? It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist. You bunch of fucking snakes out in Oakland. Draymond Green's the fucking worst of all time. But Kevin Durant and his 0 rings constantly are trying to make it a close race. Just when you think he can't, he comes up with bullshit like this. There legit isn't one logical explanation for Durant acting up like a child. Oh wait, here. Okay, I thought of one. Hear me out here. Durant's in his 12th season in the NBA. 12 years. In his eyes, that makes him a preteen heading into puberty, acting up against adults, thinking he knows better. That's gotta be it. He's some moody fucking preteen who can't be bothered to do anything. His parents, the press, ask him. There we go. Let's not act like all you want to do is play basketball. No player's just that. And no player should be that. And you bet your ass Kevin Durant is definitely not that, because you know his ass cares more about what people think than probably anyone else in the NBA, maybe even in NBA history. His burner accounts alone prove that, and him responding to people on social media proves that. We all fucking know that Kevin Durant cares what people think. Yet he's that classic example of someone trying to act like they don't give a shit about what people think. We see right through your scaly snake exterior, Kevin. Oh, and here we go. Here's a cherry on fucking top of this fucking poop sundae that Kevin Durant provided us. He asks, quote, "What's the problem? What am I doing to y'all?" When the reporter answers with, "You weren't talking to the media," Durant answers with, "So? Who are you? Why do I gotta talk to you?" How about because it's one of the things you have to do as a fucking professional athlete? And then this pure adult that's not a child who told everyone else to grow up, when he finally gets asked a basketball question, gets up in the middle and says, quote, "I'm done. You know you don't care about that." Ah, sick, man. Really help improve your point. Yeah, you're the most grown up out of all of us. You prove it day in and day out. This guy is the fucking worst. And this is the perfect time to again remind you that Kevin Durant has 0 rings. Yeah, sound that fucking alert.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Fucking grow up. Can you believe this guy, man? Grow up. Gets up in the middle of an interview when he gets what he wants, and they ask him about basketball. That to be the dumbest shit I've ever heard. On that note, it's time for Who You Got and What You Feeling. Recap of last episode. I went over the NBA All-Star Draft, Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. I went over who I would pick from the pool of All-Star starters if I were LeBron. And sure enough, all the names I mentioned, the aforementioned snake with 0 rings.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Kawhi Leonard. And Kyrie Irving all ended up on LeBron's team. Then I dropped a few names from the reserve pool. Klay Thompson and Anthony Davis, perhaps future teammates of LeBron's. They also both ended up on LeBron's team. That, quote, grown-up Kevin Durant was the first pick by LeBron, but whatever.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
The other thing I went over was my pick for the most boring Super Bowl. Of course, the Pats-Rams 13-3 barn burner got me thinking about what the most recent boring Super Bowls were. I brought up Super Bowl 37, where the Bucs defeated the Raiders 48-21. And more recently, the Seahawks whooping Peyton Manning and the Broncos in their Super Bowl 43-8. Now we get to this week's picks. And as promised, had to connect back to the Yeah Fam or Nah headline about the NBA trade deadline. And there's some big moves in the Eastern Conference with contenders. I wanted to make my pick for the bigger impact in the East. Marc Gasol heading to the Toronto Raptors, or Tobias Harris heading to the Philadelphia 76ers. So Gasol's a former Defensive Player of the Year. Is there the Raptors' new combo of adding Kawhi Leonard before the season and Gasol at the trade deadline enough to get him over the hump? The Sixers, by adding Tobias Harris, have 5 starters averaging better than 16 points per game. Is the sharpshooting Tobias Harris the missing piece they need? Is there enough basketball to go around? This one's a tough one, but I think based on the immediate impact and projecting forward, I'm going to go with the Sixers adding Tobias Harris. I think he was the perfect addition to surround Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid with. You're looking at a starting lineup. Besides those three, is having J.J. Redick and Tobias Harris, 2 sharp-shooting three-pointers that are the perfect complement for them. Marc Gasol is a tremendous add by the Raptors. Some people don't like it. I love it. It's a nice change of pace. The Raptors' previous roster was not good enough to get him over that hump, so I love adding him, but I'm going with Harris. A little bit more youth. Be asked to do a little bit less, but will be a crucial piece for where the Sixers heading forward. Worth noting, both teams, at least for right now, seem to benefit by making these moves. The Celtics have kind of taken a step back. They've blown some big leads. Kyrie Irving's banged up. They don't look the same as they did last year, so keep an eye out for the Sixers and Raptors. The next pick has to do with Antonio Brown. So AB has formally requested a trade, posting a goodbye video to Pittsburgh and saying farewell to his 9 years there. Where does he go next? I think the most obvious of those picks is probably San Francisco. So at least for right now, I'm going to go with them being the leader in trying to land him and give Jimmy Garoppolo some weapons to work with. But I wouldn't rule out someone coming out of nowhere and trying to snag him. There will be teams vying for Antonio Brown. He is still one of the best receivers in the league, and we'll see if the Steelers even cooperate trading him because he's still got years left on his contract. Next pick, now that Kyler Murray has declared for the draft, the topic you'll hear plenty of is what quarterback should be taken first. Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins? Get the fuck out of here. Sound that alarm.
Petty alert, petty alert, petty alert.
Don't come at me with that bullshit. If you suggest Kyler Murray should be taking over Dwayne Haskins, please come talk to me. Haskins over Murray all day. Don't ever play yourself. As for what I'm feeling, I know I was late to the game, but I just finished up The Sopranos, one of the best shows of all time. What an incredible show. If you've seen The Sopranos, please contact me. I need to talk this out. I'm sick over it ending. I need to bounce some ideas off of you, number one podcast listeners, please. And lastly, to wrap up this episode, you know how it goes, too much sense. My advice for you. And this week, it is about being honest with people closest to you. Listen, lying is never okay, but it's worse to do to those people close to you. And it's worse for those people close to you. If you feel like you're keeping something from people you love, ask yourself if it's something you should be doing in the first place. And that will wrap up another edition of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee, part of the newly named Play Called Network. Please, as always, subscribe, leave a review, pass this podcast on to a friend, have that friend pass it to another friend. I would greatly appreciate it. And check out the other Play Call Network podcasts. Subscribe to those. Love the people running them. They deserve your listens as well. And we'll talk to you next time.